I'm Hunter Schmidt. I primarily worked as a DevOps and infrastructure engineer, as well as helping with the back end and generally connecting all of the things to make sure that our application ran smoothly.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I am the backend and database engineer for FoodFight. I worked mainly on SignalR messaging and user accounts.
And my name is Jason. I've been a front-end engineer on this project. I've done things like the front end for the game modes and lobby creation, and I'm excited to show you more.
And I'm Colby, and I mainly worked on the front end and back end portions of our project concerning the Google Maps platform APIs. So what exactly is FoodFight, and who needs it? Well, we came up with the idea of FoodFight since we all ran into the same handful of problems individually. First up being making group decisions. Whether you're in a small or large group, and especially as groups get larger and hungrier, coming to a single decision can be pretty difficult. On top of that, making sure that every member has a fair amount of input on the final decision can also be tough in the moment. And finally, discovering new restaurants nearby that fit the group members' culinary preferences and dietary restrictions can also be a challenge. These all just kind of come together to make the group decision-making process on a place to eat a bad experience. And so, our application FoodFight attempts to solve these issues. There are 4 main steps that a group has to take to decide on a place to eat using our application. First up being creating a lobby. You can just do this by going to our website, starting the process and inputting a location, preferences, and game mode. From there, our application will attempt to populate your lobby's restaurant pool based on the lobby settings, and you'll be able to send your lobby code to your other group members who can join in just a few clicks. Finally, starting off the FoodFight, you'll play through one of our 3 game modes, which shouldn't take more than a couple minutes, and you'll be left with a place to eat. Next up, we'll take a closer look at this process through a live demonstration.
So I'm Hunter Schmidt, and today I'll give you a brief demo and introduction to FoodFight, the software. As you can see, we're hosted on AWS using Elastic Beanstalk, and I've opened up 2 windows here so that you can more easily see the real-time messaging and how that works in a game. So on the left side, I'll go ahead and create a lobby, and I'll put my username as Hunter. You can see I've done this a few times before. And then here I can put the location that we want to search for restaurants. And this can be any location, typically a city and state, but I could do a zip code as well. And if I hit view location, it will show me the location that it will search for. Once I'm satisfied with that, I can go ahead and set the preferences for the restaurants that I want it to suggest to our group. So maybe I want it a little bit more expensive and at least 2 stars. And we'll say we don't care when it's open or any features, but we do want to make sure it's Chinese food, for example. Once I've done that, I can select the game mode. We currently offer 3 game modes: Simple Voting, Rock, Paper, Scissors, and Chicken Tender. I'll start off by demonstrating Simple Voting since that's the easiest. And we can see I've set all of the preferences correctly. I could go in and edit any of these at this point if I wanted to, but I'm good, so I'll go ahead and create the lobby. Once I'm in the lobby, we can see that I've joined, and I've got this lobby code that I can copy and use over here. So I'll go ahead and join a lobby. Over here I'll put my name is Jason and the room code, and just like that you can see it populates on both screens. Now when either one of us selects FoodFight, it'll take us to this list, which is populated with restaurants based on our preferences and location that we set. So over here I'll go ahead and vote for P.F. Chang's, Chinese Taste, and King Buffet. We can see that updates here. And then Jason will vote for P.F. Chang's, Charlie Chow's, and Nilatsai Noodle House. And if we do that, it'll count the votes. We can see that P.F. Chang's is the winner. And when I click restaurant details, it'll go ahead and pull up those details for that restaurant for us. So that's a simple example of how FoodFight works. Now in Chicken Tender, we have this neat feature that I'll go through and teach you how to use the application. But since this takes a little while and I don't necessarily want to read all of it, I'll just go ahead and give a brief demo. I can click through different pictures for each restaurant. I could like a restaurant, and that's like voting for it. I can go back one restaurant if I change my mind. I can dislike a restaurant, or I can super like a restaurant, which counts as 2 votes. Now it looks like that's all the restaurants that we have, so it'll tell me that I'm waiting for the other players. So if I vote yes to that, then we can see that the restaurant with the most voting results is displayed here for all the users. So Rock, Paper, Scissors, unlike our other games, does have a tournament-style bracket, and this works with up to 10 or so people. We limited that just for ease of use and access, but it can work with any number up to 10, including odd numbers that don't normally work in a bracket. We will do things like give players bye weeks and make sure that everybody matches up so it all works out. So if I hit Food Fight, we can see we both are given a selection of rock, paper, scissors. If we both select the same thing, it'll automatically rematch us. So say I pick rock and Natalie picks scissors. Then we can see I won. It says congratulations to me, and we can go to the bracket home and see how that bracket shook out. Now, Natalie is given the choice only to see the chosen restaurant. Once I've selected it, I get to choose the restaurant, and I get to pick from this list. So I'll go ahead and click that. And now Natalie can see the restaurant. So that is Food Fight.
I will be talking a little bit about our utilized technologies. So overall, our tech stack is fairly simple. On the architecture side of things, we are using Docker for containerization of each of our microservices, and this really helps when we are deploying to AWS. Additionally, we're using Redis for an in-memory cache, and we're using Nginx for a load balancer, as an API gateway, and as a web server. For our backend, we're using ASP.NET Core, and this is in C#. It's allowing us to have all these routes to communicate with the users. On the front end side of things, we're using React with Redux and SignalR. So Redux is allowing us to store a lot of the information on the front end and have the front end do a lot of work and take the load off of the back end. SignalR is allowing us for this communication between the front end and back end, and the real-time communication between the users and the real-time updates when users are playing games in a tournament and stuff like that. Finally, we're using Google Maps API to populate the restaurants from the lobby creation, preferences, and user data. As I mentioned earlier, we're using C# for the back end, and we are using TypeScript for the front end. Overall, we've been working really hard. We've done 16 weeks of development, we've done many commits, done lots of issues. We are following the Agile framework so that we're doing 1-week sprints, and we're doing development meetings and stand-ups and code reviews and things like that to ensure code quality and make sure that we always have something working. We never commit things with bugs in it. That's why we have testing. Natalie was great about producing a good test suite to test our backend functionality and our routes. And then additionally, we've done user studies to ensure that our final product actually meets user needs. And this has produced really good feedback, and we've been able to adjust our final product to respond to that. And I think we're all really happy with the results. Now I'll hand the time over to Natalie to talk about everything.
All right, so in conclusion, a Food Fight uses a wide range of technologies to help make picking a restaurant fun and easy. We populate the restaurants by using Google Maps API, and there are 3 game modes to choose from: simple voting, rock, paper, scissors, and my personal favorite, chicken tender. And we do all of this to hopefully add a little fun and competition into picking a restaurant with your friends. And, the winner gets the ultimate bragging rights, and they get to pick the restaurant. So it's very fun. And lastly, we would like to thank Professor Germain and Rygar, and as well as all of the TAs. They were very, very helpful throughout this whole semester and put in a lot of work, as well as all of the team members. So Colby, Hunter, Jason, and myself, we all put in a lot of work, and we learned a lot and had a lot of fun doing it. So Thank you.